Adding another layer of defense against crime that accounts for 42% of Rockford's violent offenses.
23 News reporter Jake Pearson talks to area leaders about a new division to assess and assist survivors of domestic violence.
A $900,000 grant provided by Senator Steve Stottleman allows the Mayor's Office of Domestic and Community Violence Prevention take its next step in the fight against domestic violence. With the funding, the Mayor's Office announces the Lethality Prevention Division, dedicated to helping survivors who urgently need help and are in danger of losing their life. Under the division, 3 teams will operate, including the Domestic Violence Enhanced Response Team, the Domestic Violence Fatality Review Team, and the Strangulation Response Team.
We've seen about an 18% increase in survivors who are going to the hospital for strangulation injuries. Before we deployed that, before we did the training, it was 4%. Last year, 20% of survivors went to the hospital, you guys. That's a significant change.
The Mayor's Office is also training 911 operators to ask a series of questions that could help identify if callers have been strangled as a continued effort to fight domestic violence.
In total, Senator Stottleman gave $1.5 million to the Mayor's office, with other pieces of funding going toward the Community Life Center and a program to help prevent high-speed car chases.